Haven't you?
Today's been pretty busy. How about you?
It's a great day for you.
Yeah, great day for me. I got a good about my car being fixed and not paying an arm and leg for BMWs.
Getting it fixed, yeah.
Just a couple of pinkies.
But also, I don't know, did either one of you watch the debate last night?
Yeah, I did. I watched the whole thing, the whole train wreck.
Would you call it a debate?
I call it a train wreck.
Yeah.
I would call it
across the board, right?
I would. I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I'm interested in hearing your guys' viewpoints, but
I didn't watch it. So you guys,
you didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it.
Did
you get any YouTube clips of it?
Oh, I saw clips of it. People posted, but I mean,
I got sucked in.
You did get sucked in, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought they were from the way they I can't remember his name, but the moderators they were like monotoned at the beginning, so I thought it was going to be like the last one, like
at least halfway decent.
Because remember one of the things they said they were going to turn off microphones. It didn't sound like they would always turn her microphone off, but there was a couple times where you could tell the Trump's microphone was off when he started speaking, and they had to turn it back on.
Right.
That's it. And I know, first, engineer shows after thousands of shows. And sometimes I'd rather just keep everything on and say, okay, you're live, mic hot. So, I think it was stupid to do anything like that. I think it should have just gone up, and shutting off and off, I think is a bad, from a technological viewpoint.
But I think it's a good thing for politicians because they never shut up. And the only way to shut them up is to have a light that says,
shut up,
talk, nobody's going to hear you.
How long did it take for Kamala to stop you? Before she answered the question? Okay.
She did it one time.
She had faces.
Okay.
She had it one time. One time she did.
I missed that.
Do you notice the shot caller was like, I don't know, I can't do that.
No, they must have told her not to do it.
No, but she had faces throughout the whole night, like, and the internet went after her about the different faces because she went like this, and she was like,
she went that not really face a couple times to see when he was making points.
I think here's the thing. I think Trump came out. He didn't have to come out the way he did. I think Trump came out either tired, in a way, like old beleaguered a little bit, or he came out a little bit he came out as a mean old man. Is the way
it was just hard. I mean, it's going to be hard for him either way.
He's walking in the middle of a freaking war zone.
Out of his element.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's face it, I don't think he's as comfortable lying as that she is and all the other politicians. I mean, it's like them and cops. He comes out of the mouth as a lie.
He can't lie because he has the truth police. Behind him.
That's
at all times. I mean, he can't lie.
Well,
everything he says, they jump right on him. Whether or not it's true or false.
Right.
Whether or not you're watching videos over here on YouTube, like we were talking about TikTok, YouTube, everything else, and you're watching people at different town halls saying different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you've got the media over here saying, "Oh, that's not true." We talked to now. What I didn't understand was when he was sitting there talking about what was going on in Ohio, right? He hadn't said it yet, but I don't believe he had.
Broke on Twitter and it's been all over Facebook.
Right, but he had started talking about it, and this guy automatically had. Well, I have talked to the city manager, so you knew he's walking in with that information. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like, if I was Trump, I would have probably did this. There have been 4 things I would have done if I was Trump. 1, not fall for the bait. He did.
Yeah.
He didn't need to. All he had to do was go like this. If this is what you really believe, okay, but here's the answer. And he needed to answer some of the questions. Trump needed to answer a few questions. And that's the only thing I think about Trump is you got to answer a question instead of going back and saying, yes, a debate is a debate, right? But here's the thing. When someone asks you a direct question, answer the damn question.
No, and that's what she never did.
Nor did he sometimes.
But he would get back to her because they stayed on him until he gave them an answer. So
right.
But at the end, he did answer the questions because they wouldn't let it go.
But give a 5. If you're going to give a 30-second answer, give a 30-second answer. Then go attack if you need to. But at least give the answers because when people are listening to you, they kind of.
I honestly don't think anybody watched it besides dum-dums like us.
Well, yeah, I watched it because I knew we were going to talk about it.
I don't see any chatter. I don't see few memes on Facebook with the friends that I have.
I saw some,
and I don't know about you, but I went through Facebook and anybody that posted political stuff at one time, if I didn't know them and they weren't a friend,
He was gone.
I don't want to see political stuff when I go
on Facebook.
Yeah, unless I look for it.
Well, see, the people I know people who are diehard Republicans. I know the people who are diehard Democrats basically broke down to exactly what I said. They're going to be saying, "Oh, she kicked his butt, and she will clean the floor with him and all this." And the same thing for the Republican Party, the Trump supporters. And I just don't see that. I mean, I've heard what he says before. I see what he tried to do is when he was the president, and that's how I'm going by.
Right.
I've seen her for 3.5 years not doing anything.
And that's what he did say at the end. He more or
I think
less
that was
said,
the best
"Are you
part.
better off now than you were 4 years ago?"
The first question they asked was that question
Right.
to her.
And she didn't answer it.
She didn't answer.
Well, because she's going to try and put it like, well, it was because I'm like an underling. Basically, she's going to have that approach. Well, she's a vice president. She was basically, we don't know who ran the government while Joe was in power. I mean, when he was still supposed to be in power, whatever he's not. Basically, he was a puppet. I mean, he had somebody up his bum, had their hands so far up and running them because he wasn't capable of doing anything. We know
That's what it seemed like.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
It would have to be. I mean, to be that far gone as
Jill ran it.
possibly. Well, they said she did. She had her own song.
Oh yeah, she wanted her own
I've
song.
heard it before. It sounds so silly.
It was the dumbest song
She has
ever.
a song when she enters, or like the Ode to the Chief. She
Yeah.
has one for the First Lady song.
Oh, the First Lady song. Okay.
There's never been a First Lady song before her. She asked for it.
Well, it's like I know that Woodrow Wilson, going back in time when he was incapacitated for a long part of his tenure, and his wife and other advisors basically ran the country, and there's no setup for that. There's a president, the vice president, there's a order of succession that they should have followed, and that's what should.
Okay. They were talking about taking what's the 25th Amendment, right?
Mhm.
They were talking about taking the vice president out of that.
No.
No, out of that decision.
Oh,
But they should be out of it anyways, because who's the next person to replace the president? I guess in the 25th Amendment, the vice president is the one that has to initiate it.
oh,
And it has to sign off on it, but the cabinet has to be the one who comes together and makes that
But
vote.
what I'm saying is, I don't think they're saying maybe the vice president shouldn't be the one that says yes or no, because
No, if you chair most committees, you don't have a vote. You just bring it to the table and you don't vote. And the vice president should be that kind
but
of
they're the
chair.
ones that the vice president has to initiate it.
Yeah.
The cabinet can't do it. The vice president has to.
it's like, I mean, I don't know if any change that would be good. I mean, somebody's got to be able to drop, call attention to this guy's screwing up, this person's screwing up. I mean, it's time to get these, start proceedings. I mean, if the vice president, I don't know. I think maybe it's because notice as soon as it seems like the Democrats, every time they have a long place, and when they find it doesn't work to their advantage or they don't like it, they want to change it.
But
And
that's another thing I've seen at a recent interview with Nancy Pelosi. They were talking about Kamala Harris's track record, that she really hasn't done anything since she's been in office. And Nancy Pelosi just looked at the guy and said, "Vice presidents don't do anything." So that was her answer.
They don't go to Europe
When
either.
they asked about
Yeah.
the track, she said, "Vice presidents don't do anything."
I thought last night when she said, excuse me, I'm not Joe Biden, I would have said, yeah, I know, because I had to debate him last time. And he's not here now because you guys decided to throw him out. So let's try it. Now I got you. Who's the next one in line after you lose? That's what I would say.
But that the scary thought, and plus they've said it in the media that there might be a chance where they do take him out and put her in as president before November.
Well, that's
That might
good.
be the next move.
Well, here's a question. You guys were just talking about the 25th Amendment, right?
Yes.
She wants to say that Joe Biden is incompetent. Basically, that was what I took from last night, is how Joe Biden has messed everything up, but she didn't do anything wrong.
Mhm.
But that they actually had to come in and create all these jobs because they had to fix the economy. And then after that, Joe just became incompetent, the way I took it. All the problems were Joe's problem, all right?
Right.
Everything else was great. It was all of them together. Okay, so the 25th Amendment's on the table. Why isn't she enacting it? And why is she not in? I mean, he made a few good points last night. Why don't you go at 4:00 in the afternoon, wake Joe up, take him downstairs, and tell him to sign the thing in and put an executive order in and close that border up. And yet, you know what? She had no comeback for that.
She basically, she's trying to stall and she's saying, basically distance herself from the old administration she's part of. I mean, which is
How can you do that? Last night was a good try. But last night was a good try. But how can you do that?
Because they're sociopaths. That's the only. I mean, it's like they could be doing something caught on camera to hundreds of witnesses and being on camera, and they'll turn around and deny they did it. I mean, they have a disconnect from reality. They have a disconnect from
When
reality.
does that happen? Before or after you become elected?
The people go into this kind of stuff. We have that.
And the thing
Is the person that goes
it's
into
not the fault of the politicians, it's the fault of the people. The people don't realize how much power they have
They're timid.
because they don't know how to use it. I mean, we have power, but we don't use it. We're too frightened, especially like I brought up yesterday with January 6th. That was just showing people we're the boss.
That terrifies. See,
That was running last night.
They got things running. They got the agreements, and Democrats, Republicans all work together. They got their agreements. They're all getting benefits from pretending there's these big differences between them. But they all have people who are sponsoring them, like that illusion about the jumpsuit with all the the sponsors on them. And basically, they got to everything. Even if they're trying to do the right thing, they can't do the right thing because they got too much payroll to pay back. If they actually did the right thing, they have too many people. It's basically like a mob-run organization.
They would probably
like
come
that.
down with a bug and die.
Yep.
How far do you think Joe's from getting a bug and
I mean,
dying?
look, Fauci got a bug.
Yep.
Did he?
Yeah, he was in not insane incapacitated, but he was in the hospital. Was he in the hospital?
Yeah, he was hospitalized. He had some kind of some from one of the countries he was visiting, supposedly. Yeah, I mean, look at the Russians have actually used toxins and stuff to remove political opponents.
Okay, so answer this question because I want to go back to
Or they could just
2020.
blame it on Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
She crossed the Clintons.
Don't cross
Death
that
by
line.
Clinton.
Oh my gosh, yeah, death by chocolate, death by Hillary, death by Clinton. I have a question. 2020 or 2019, COVID hits our shores. Why does Trump keep Fauci when he doesn't think Fauci's doing a good job?
He didn't know. I mean, I'm
just asking why.
I wasn't there, but I assumed that he won like anyone else. He's going to look to the people with the MDs. The MDs is the person who's supposed to be the expert on viruses in the United States. Fauci's been around forever. I'm sure that's why he looked to him.
I just never understood that. I think of all the things that
What
I
are you
look at.
supposed to? Just make the decisions, and then the press is already asking you all kinds of questions. And why did you make that decision? Why didn't you go to your staff?
Why'd you go to the great, the
Right.
great director? I know, but
It's
it just,
like we said before.
it just,
Trump has the truth police following him. He doesn't lie because he has a hard time with the truth that he does tell.
there's three things that Trump
No,
does do.
I mean-
There's three things that Trump does, though. There are a few things he does. He's a salesman.
Right.
And as a sales guy, I'm going to tell
You
you,
over exaggerate.
you do.
You fib on some things to try to get the sale done.
Right. And he's always, that's been in his blood ever since. It's in his blood. And if you don't know a salesperson, if you really don't know how hard it is, and to get into it, that's what Trump has been always good for. He's been the
They
front
also
man.
say that they can do stuff, and then they call after they're done with the meeting to make sure we can do this, right?
Yeah, we can rebuild a whole brand new system. Yeah, I've been there.
That's the
I've
thing.
been on that end of the phone going, can we do this?
The thing is about coming from a sales background like he does, like Trump does. He can only go so far where he has to cross the line. A governmental agency can say, you can't do this. Well, we're supposed to have all
Okay,
these.
but why can the government agency say you can't do that if he's part of the structure that made that government agency?
Well, he's still part of the outsiders. That's the thing is he's never, like I said before, just yesterday I think I said that he was for all purposes actually the third party candidate.
Right.
And the thing is, like I said, when a politician does something, when a private businessman does something, you got these agencies that could seize upon that opportunity to go after him. Whereas when it's the politician helps set these organizations into place, they cross the line. Who's going to cross? Who are they working for? The people who are in these organizations.
As well as they'll leak information.
Right.
They say, I don't know how that got to the New York Times.
So I mean, it's like they're
Isn't me.
I don't know. We could talk about this all day, but
No, actually, it's a good idea. It's a good because honestly, I think sometimes talking about this is actually not a bad idea to talk about because a lot of people don't talk about this stuff.
no. But one of the things John wanted to bring something up from some of the comments.
yeah. So
Okay.
okay, yeah. For one thing, we were accused of not emphasizing or de-emphasizing or giving discredit to the idea of tithing. And I have with me today a Cruden's complete concordance.
Well, first of all, we're not against it.
No, I was going to say I'm going to read several parts. I'm going to give you from this as a concordance, which is basically every time like words used in the Bible, they went through and told you where that was used, and they should give you the Bible verses which was used in. And this is Cruden's. You've heard of it? Or, okay. And Strong's concordance is the most common one. I got this because it was put out by the local church publisher, Bible Publishers. It's here in Michigan. And it's a really nice leather-bound copy of this. Well, anyway, this is from page 694, where they got underneath the heading for tithing. And there's so much here. This is from their own. So this is their own synopsis of tithing. Okay, I'll read briefly from it. The practice of paying tithes is a very ancient, and for we find Genesis 14:20 that Abraham gave tithes to the Melchizedek, king of Salem, to his return from the expedition against Sharmadalam. I can't pronounce that name, and the 4 kings of the Confederate. See with him. So it goes into that and this and it gives you so many listings. There's like almost a page and a half of listings from the Bible about tithing, the use of tithes and the purpose of tithes and the efficacy of tithing and the importance of tithing. So we definitely cannot ignore that part. And what it was is when the program cut it up our former segment into smaller segments, basically truncated what was before and after.
So after reading that, what do you think? What do you think that says on tithing?
Well, tithing is very important. Yeah, tithing is required. I mean, it's like you can give a 10% of your financial gain, whatever you get. Back in the ancient times, they didn't have currency. They probably had cows, cattle, goats, sheep, work. Yeah, you give in modern day extrapolation, you give a 10% of your income, 10% of your time. Going to the church, fulfilling roles at the soup kitchen or food pantry, or cleaning up the place, the church and the facilities, mowing the lawn, and that's all part of tithing. And you give your efforts, and that's what I always took. Todd's actually formally had more training in Bible than I've had. So I mean, from your understanding, it's also very necessary. It's still enjoined upon the modern day believers, right?
It is. It always been. But the problem is that it goes. One of the things that we overread or we overlook when we're reading is it goes to local church.
Right.
If you remember right, we used to have the things would go to your local church was in your community down the hall, down the street.
Right.
Right. That was the local churches. Now we got people driving from here 15, 20, 35 miles. But here's the thing, when you're actually having guys on televangelists on the lines going, hey, send us all your money, send us different things like that. There's a difference. You got to weigh where you're sending that money and what that money's going for.
Right.
Like, for instance, a few years ago when they had that, in Dallas, Texas, when they had that hurricane that came through Dallas, the floods that came through, remember?
Yeah.
And Joel Osteen's church got really hit, and then they were going in there trying to get help from Joel Osteen, and he closed down the whole thing and said, no, I can't help you. But, he's out there preaching to everybody how he's doing something. The thing is that Joel Osteen does touch a lot of people. And I'm not going to go around. I don't like bashing people. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to say this is that you have a local church. The local church needs to bring that money in, and it needs to help. What they talk about when the guy brought this whole thing up and talked to us about it, I liked it. But the thing when he forgot to talk about what it's really for.
Right.
Is to help. If the church did our job, if we did our job, then you don't need the government paying for everything. If the church did our job, the way that the tithing was set up, it says in Malachi, bring everything into the warehouse,
right?
Into the, and then there you distribute to all the people, and you take care of the widows, and you take care of the ones with, the invalids, and you take care of the disabled, and you take care of those that are seniors, and those. That's what we're supposed to be doing as a local church, right? We're not buying smoke things that fly through. So when the pastor walks out, he looks like we're in a rock band. And then we got lights going all over the place so we can touch everybody. Not buying jets for Kevin Copeland that fly over and for multiple jets. Not buying major mansions. So there is a difference. You need to pull that difference. And it is all right for people in a church to sit back and say, hey, you know what? There's enough. You know what? We're giving to God, but we need to give that money instead of giving it to a person, giving it to a spot. And I grew up in a Bible college that said this. Basically, in church administration class we went to, the pastor, if you look at his salary, should be the average person's salary in your church.
Right.
That should be it. But you should always make sure that they have a parsonage,
Take care of
and that's why the government gives parsonage is for no tax. So it includes into the spot. So a parsonage actually is considered a no tax building, right? But I've seen so many different churches. In fact, I can tell you one that we were at over in one spot where the guy was trying to build two different properties, put them together, merge them, and not wanted to put a title up or anything. And the thing is he wanted to do it so it was an independent Baptist church that did it, and he tried to do it so that the city commissioner didn't know it, so they could actually get their taxes on both the buildings for him and his father-in-law. Because his father-in-law was quote unquote a missionary of the church, which basically all that meant was the father-in-law went to the church. If you're a missionary, you're somewhere else.
Right.
So, but the problem is that we give people titles so we can do these things. And the problem we need to do is go back to what the Bible really says. The Bible's not to be money hungry. That's not what God's asking for the tithe. You don't need to outgive God. God will outgive you. It's not, the 10th isn't the spot to say, hey, you know what? I'm giving more to God. Look at this. He also says, when you give us a cheerful, he looks at your heart. If you sit there begrudgingly, like go in there, I've seen guys, I've heard friends one time that he couldn't break $100 bill. So he was in the offering plate where you put the $100 in, and he pulled out $420.
But is that wrong?
No, it wasn't wrong. I was laughing at him, but he was like, he felt so embarrassed, but guess what? That's all you had. He was going to give us $20. That's all you had to do it. He's like, do I give 100? And the pastor was hoping he was going to give the 100. He pulled back the 420. It wasn't wrong.
No.
But I sat down. Now when I grew up, there was a guy named Cliff Hurd. I'll tell you about this guy. If you didn't think you got enough on that offering plate when you passed it through one time, he passed a race straight down that aisle until he got enough when he thought. So there are different ways. I think that we need to get back to some of the old, like we talk about some of the old things that churches used to do, and that was to take care of the people internally. If the church does its job, if the church really did our job, we would not just be helping people spiritually, but we would be a hospital to people.
Yeah, because you'd have connections. See, nowadays
Not a physical hospital with the
Spiritual.
Just means
A spiritual hospital. And but you'd be one that actually people could go to and get help.
Imagine how many people would beat up on it.
Yeah.
Churches shouldn't be hospitals.
Well, see,
Oh yeah, you can't give them a shot.
No, that's not what you meant.
No, I mean for your spirituality, but we don't have it anymore. Do you know what happened in World War II?
Because we're not allowed to have it because they beat us down for having it. It makes us feel like that we have to hide that we're Christians. If you go out, people give Christians a hard time, especially our age and our demographic.
I think what another thing is too, I was going to bring up, and I want to pursue what you're going further, but I'd like to say that what another thing is too, when it was in the local hands, you connected with people, you gave it to the person who was the receiver, received it from the church. They had a connection to these people. They went to the church, they received it as religious instruction,
right.
And stuff. Now the state and co-op to that, and now the state becomes what becomes worshipped or venerated, the power of the state.
Mm-hmm.
Not the efficacy of being a Christian, being connected to being following the biblical mandates, all that. That's not what's being emphasized. The state becomes the powerful, the all-powerful.
Yeah, because if you decided, say that you and a group of friends got together and you decided that you're going to have a service that you're going to have them all meet at your house, and then all of a sudden it starts getting bigger, so you decide that you're going to go have a building to do it.
Right.
And you're just a normal person who doesn't know laws and things, and then you're doing it, and all of a sudden you got like 100 people coming to your meeting, and the government finds out, you're going to be in trouble.
You're going to have to
give them money for what you're doing, and they're going to go, how long have you been doing this? But I think that's wrong.
I think the thing is I go back to go history. We all study history, right? You are you're a studier of a lot of areas, right. But history is one of your parts too. You love, right? We call you the professor. So here's the deal. What happened that you don't read in a lot of history books the day after Pearl Harbor happened?
I mean, the day after you get in this country.
Yeah.
Oh, that's everybody was unified. It was, basically it was like within a few hours, within a day, they declared war on Japan. I mean, it was.
But what else happened? Do you remember?
I don't know what you're doing, direction your head in. I'm just trying to think of the unfolding events because that was, I was my grandparents, my
People
dad.
came together.
They came together, yeah.
People came together. Where did they come together at?
The churches.
Yeah.
The churches.
Guess what happened when COVID and 9/11 happens? Guess what? We all, that Sunday, everybody's at church.
Right. They closed the church.
COVID happens,
They
the
took it
church
away,
says,
yeah.
hey, you know what? We're done. Thank you. And they walk away from it.
Right.
And they shut
were
everything
told
down.
to,
Okay.
because they couldn't assemble. They told
I
them.
saw pastors getting arrested, which I thought was just retarded. Even in Michigan, in Ohio, and stuff like that. People were getting arrested.
They'll go after them, but they won't go after the drug dealers they know exist. And they know where the drug dealers are.
It wasn't only churches, it was gyms, it was
The guy in New York, remember he had that gym that was really nice?
I
Yeah.
forget what his name was. He's still going back and forth. And he just won something recently. I can't remember, but he did win and get a judgment back.
Some of the Orthodox churches in Canada, back in Trudeau, when Trudeau was on and everybody's knocking down, they were still made clandestine. They were actually taking the stuff that they needed to conduct the liturgy, the goblets and all that stuff, the plantains, all that, pantons and whatever, and went there to different locations secretly. And that's what the church, that's standing on biblical standards. You give to Caesar what is Caesar's, which is your currency, because they print it, they stamp it, they print out thin air. You give that back to them because they got a gun held to your head. But let's face it, you give to God what is God, and meeting together corporately is a part of the requirement of being a Christian.
Right.
And not doing so is actually like pulling back on your dealing with God.
Yep.
And so they did biblical sound stuff and they got vilified for it. Someone did get arrested, harassed, and everybody said, we just got to submit. It's just a short duration. Well, that's a smokescreen for tyrants.
Or on the other side was, do you want to kill people? And it's like, come on,
But okay, say if Kamala Harris does win in November,
right?
Do you think it's going to be better for churches or
No,
worse?
Worse. And she's got nothing but contempt. I mean, the left they try to co-opt Christian values. You care about the poor. You should let all these people who are migrants in because you're supposed to accommodate people. You're supposed to reach out. Well, you're supposed to accommodate those who actually show up legally. Another thing is too, when they're here, it says in the Bible, in the Old Testament, if those people are living amongst you, they're supposed to follow the laws that you're doing. Right there. So being here illegally and not through the due process and being vetted and all that, it makes them illegal. So that right there is a biblical principle. Like this is not the Bible, but it's in the Bible. It says the Jews are told that whoever live amongst you has to follow the same rules. You have to live by the laws of Mosaic law.
Right.
Okay. If you want to extrapolate further to this current era, another thing is true.
But you're going further. You're saying the laws of the country, not the laws of Christianity.
Or the Christianity. Right. Well, yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Right.
You're going into the laws of the country. Not biblically.
No, but I'm seeing attachment to that. I mean,
but you understand
because we are basically our government basically, like it or not, has become a replacement for a God-centered kind of government body, and I'm not advocating for theocracies. I mean, theocracies degenerate really quickly into brutality, in my opinion, especially when you have so many factions. Yeah.
We've started so many wars in the name of God, it's not funny. It's not, and it's, where do you find it, right? I had a friend of mine one time that used to work with me. And it was kind of funny. We always talk about that life is a pendulum. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we swing over here, sometimes we swing over here, but right where we're supposed to be is where God wants you to be. Is like right there in that middle, right there in that moderate. Mm-hmm. He wants you right in the middle. That's the sweet spot of everything. Mm-hmm. And we don't go there.
That's another thing. You're talking about that sweet spot. I think that's where I come down. Because John and I have learned over the years, we touched on it in prior shows, that we've had people in here through other forms of the studio that we both disagreed with on everything, but they turned out to be, we listened to what they had to say and we had conversations afterwards. They turned out to be good people.
Well, like the Compassion Club, for example. I mean, we had opposition to that.
Oh, to medical marijuana, to marijuana. Yeah, we just thought there were a bunch of people that wanted to smoke marijuana. But after we sat down and we talked to Jeremy Ripinski and his wife Ramona, they changed their mind.
Yeah, because another thing is too, it's like, okay, you might not agree with something. I mean, it's like, I don't like gay marriages, but if a church chooses to do that, that's on that church. I don't want the government forcing all churches to have to do that.
Right.
You know, that's
all people, not just churches,
right?
Just people. You force it on the people of the United States.
See, I don't understand. We talked about this too, like tolerance and acceptance. You accept the fact that people have differences of opinion, and you tolerate these differences because basically, how can you not tolerate it? Because you won't want to go to the extreme to have the ultimate power. I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't allow anybody else to have ultimate power to shut my experience down, my life, my own input and my own existence. Wow. So how can you give into that? You have to permit other people to have variance of your views. But now we've gone too far into the thing is now we have to accept it and embrace it and become that. That's ridiculous.
And if you don't, then you're called this.
It's like patriotism is wrong. It's just as wrong as Christianity now. You can't be a patriot and be open about it and expect people not to come at you for being a right-wing extremist. Things that we used to be proud of, like I brought up before in a prior show, was 1976.
Right, everybody
get away from it. I mean, it was great.
Yeah,
it was a fun year.
Every song was about patriotic. Everything was. You saw movies. Everything was patriotic. Everything.
Well, look at what happened in 1976. We just got out of Vietnam. Very unpopular war. We had a president resign.
1974 is when it officially
ended.
Yeah, ended.
1974.
So we just got within a couple of years of that, though, and we'd be beat down. Everybody, the whole country was torn apart by these are the civil rights, the war, the war in Vietnam. And now it's like back, we actually stopped and paused and went back and said, we have something to be proud of.
Remember, Coca-Cola was the real thing. Remember those commercials with the hippies and the old people coming together? It was a come together. 1976 was like a hippie time.
The 1980s was good.
It's like, another thing is too, it's like we kind of.
Do you remember the 80s was not a bad time?
No, it wasn't. I mean, you had people making fun of Reagan. You had the leftists and stuff.
But to live life,
it was a fun time.
But churches were thriving. People would go to church in the 60s, 70s, and in the 60s and the 80s, everybody would talk about going to church, right? Whether, whether
you win or not.
Everybody.
If you didn't go, big deal.
Yeah, but it wasn't like as many people. And then the 90s, kind of still the same. 2000s and above, it's like, dude, if you go to church, people look at you like you have four heads when you walk out the door. And the attendance is down at the small local churches. And when we drive, one of the hardest things is when I was driving by coming the other way before I start coming the way we come, I've driven by 3 or 4 churches that are just decayed, they're deteriorating, and they're broken down.
Reflection on our society that we're living in today.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, if you look, houses, the people, when I grew up, my dad, and my uncles, and taught me how to do regular maintenance on the house. You have to clean the gutters and different things, and have to check your roof and check for leaks every year after the thaw to make sure. People aren't teaching.
No, we don't teach kids anything anymore.
We don't learn anything anymore. And then we brought up before about civics being taught in the classroom. It's not. I mean, they'll teach you about gay marriage and stuff, but they won't teach you how to. Well, you don't have to balance a checkbook, but you should have to know about money in, money out.
That's another thing is too. It's like surprising the people that taught the classes for civics and American government when I was in junior high and high school tended to be those, I would say, more of the old left. They're kind of like more liberal. Classical liberal. But they some of them were FDR supporters. I had one exception, but as a class, but they tended to still have this kind of sense of they knew the Constitution had an appeal even to. Because basically the latitude that was allowed by the Bill of Rights allowed them to actually get out there and try to evangelize with their communist deal, the propaganda or leftist propaganda. Now you see a transition. You see like Kamala Harris's stuff that she's saying against Elon Musk, what she's going to do if she gets power. I mean, This is beyond chilling. It's horrifying. As a person could have it who is running as a president.
Okay, but people growing up in the 2000s, they don't know what they've lost.
Well, because what it is they've given them a surrogate. I mean, it's the internet, and the internet. God, I saw so much potential when that started developing. And it's gone so far. I mean, we're doing something now. It's wonderful.
For us,
Right.
like our.
It's the only way to get out to people. It's right.
We need a lot of stuff that we're thinking out for chess by doing this.
This is our therapy session.
Yeah,
4 therapy sessions a week. So,
but another thing is too, though, we've some of the criticisms we got were like 3 old guys who are all very stage of balding and all that, which is true. We can't.
Yeah, we're in the wrong order, though.
But
we should be over here.
I probably should,
in the middle.
But we got to.
this is what you look like here. This is what you
Yeah.
We got the things on the banner we can't place, and we can switch them, I guess. But anyway, the point is,
That's
yeah,
what I'm
you can't argue against that.
We should change it to 3 ball guys.
people and see how they run.
But it's like, yeah, we run very, very poorly, by the way. A lot of bad knees. But no, it's those points are accurate. You can't deny it. But then again, if I were to say a bunch of patchouli wearing jerks who never seen a shower or a bathtub, that might be true, but doesn't hurt the fact that they have a sense of humanity. You gotta try to understand. And as Steve was alluding to me, we brought people in from various backgrounds. Some extreme black activists we've had who hate, but a lot of probably their youth hated whitey, and we call each other all the time, see how our families are doing. I think that's one thing that the internet has done is you got people talking amongst themselves rather than looking at talking heads.
Right.
All right.
Oh, well, that's the good thing. What I was saying, the legacy media, the old media, doesn't have the power because that was what I can't remember her name. What one of the commentary
Last night,
Leslie
Ann Warren.
is that
Yeah.
Yeah, let's say Warren.
that she said that they're going to get the most wide view that they're going to ever get being on this show tonight.
What?
I think they only had like 90. I don't even think they broke 1 million, did they?
I
no.
don't know. But look at Joe Rogan. Okay, for example, Andrew Breitbart before he died. Let's see all the other ones. All these other people who have never been the traditional media darlings have probably more impact on them. Alex Jones even.
I'm talking about Joe Rogan. So Joe Rogan's a really great example. Joe Rogan, all through the COVID, all through everything, stayed true to his whole thing on doing his podcast, how he did his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, I love watching Joe Rogan. I love watching Dan Bongino. I watched both of them, listened to them. But when Joe Rogan on Spotify, you saw all these liberal guys jumping off Spotify. Oh, we can't be part of somebody like this. That they have this person on. Neil Young.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, guess what? 2 or 3 months later, guess what?
Yeah,
Neil Young's coming back going, can I please get on Spotify? It's like, come on.
Yep.
So it's like,
It was a big mistake pulling his catalog off there.
but and everybody like for one day was talking about how great he is. And then as a new news cycle, right? I mean, Trump gave you a new news cycle the next day and Neil Young was gone.
Well, it's the same thing me and John were talking about. People have already forgotten that Trump was shot. There was attempted assassination of Trump.
And last night he talked about that. And honestly, as he was talking about it, that stupid, dumbass guy who was sitting there talking was trying to overtalk him about, well, we don't have factual viewpoints on something like that. The guy got a bullet through his earlobe, and they're sitting there going, well, we don't have factual viewpoint on this. Can you please shut the F up?
What I was trying to say is that's the attention span of the American people. Well, I mean, the world seems to
3 days.
only be like 30 seconds.
Yeah. You ever get in trouble with something? Wait 15 days, you'll be out of it.
Yeah.
It's like, what's this quick?
And announce it on a Friday.
Yeah. Now it's on a Friday, you interfere, you're a politician, and by Monday you'll be back in the good graces with everybody.
Just make some like Hugh Grant when he got busted going to with that hooker. He
Yeah.
just mumbled, did some mumbling, apologized, mumbling and stuff like that. And within a few months, he was.
But then again, should he had to, as an actor, apologize for anything? No, because who cares what an actor does?
Okay, so can let's talk about that. I mean, this is probably not where you want to take a show at, but I'm interested in your guys' opinion. prostitution, legal, illegal? Should it be legal? Should it be illegal?
I don't
I
care.
think should be. I mean,
It doesn't matter to me.
I think say now. Actually, there's actually support. What I'm going to say is actually in the Catholic Church they have it was acknowledgement of the reality of
But
it.
he's asking you personally.
Oh no, that's what I'm going to say. That's what backs up the one you put.
Go ahead, because I know where you're going.
Yeah,
with that
about
one.
the sewer. Yeah, it's like basically it's like prostitution. It's like a sewer in a castle. You don't want it to be there, but it's going to be there. It's needed to be there.
But
And
that's just like I don't care about drugs.
No.
I don't care about prostitution, gambling.
It's
It doesn't affect me.
It's-
I don't do it. If you don't do it,
it's like okay. It's one thing. It's like another thing is I don't see. Okay, I know Christians are supposed to have stewardship. But let's face it, we're not.
you're not supposed to have stewardship over your fellow man.
No, but I was gonna say, look, you got money. Okay, you got money given to you. You have jobs, whatever. You spend on your paying your taxes, paying your bills. Okay, I can understand, but you got 10, 15 bucks.
Okay,
You can buy a lottery ticket.
But would you rather have if they're going to be giving somebody a hard time, would you rather them going after somebody who's a prostitute or her John, I guess, or would you rather have them going after people that are selling drugs to kids?
Well, see, that's
Where would your tax dollars be better spent? Going after people who smoke marijuana and solicit prostitutes, or going after the people that are selling drugs to kill people?
yeah. I'd rather go after those who are preyed upon, those who are the children. I mean, that's a no brainer. I mean, what I'm saying is,
But which is easier money for the state to
to
get?
go after the people who are not going to resist too strongly.
And what part of the city do they usually go after the hardest?
The worst sections. Yeah.
The people who don't have the money.
Money. That's all it's about. I mean, if somebody wants to say, that's the reason why I don't. See, I tell people about the legal system, and it's part of this is all tied together. The selective enforcement. They send people. We got to do something about crime. So they go to the poor neighborhoods. They pick up people for any kind of what they think is a violation. They contrive it.
And they get their numbers.
Yeah, they get their numbers.
I did this,
Right.
but did it stick? And are they still in jail? Well, I did this.
Yeah,
And they're back out in 4 or 5 hours.
and it's like another.
And plus, they made money to boot off the people to get it.
Right.
To pay money.
Look at who brings the drugs, so especially like the drugs like fentanyl and all these drugs that are manufactured offshore, like heroin.
Some are Native American.
There's probably, well, a lot of that, every one of those who go after the street level person, but they're not going after the government agencies and government people who've allowed this happen to actually benefit from it. Because let's face it, even if they allow passage of like certain laws to combat it, now it's a feather in their cap because they've taken away our freedoms and ability to fight this war. You can't be against us, just fight the war.
Like the TSA, that's the biggest joke
Yeah,
in the world.
what have they stopped?
Nothing.
Nothing. They've had
It's just like an army of. I'm not saying anything about the people. If you work at the TSA, good for you. It's a job, and I'm happy you have it. But I'm just saying the whole premise of the TSA makes no sense.
Another thing is too is like they've actually caught so many. They haven't caught.
Well, I'm sure they have, but
What I was going to say, they haven't interdicted anybody they know is good to plotting against American people, but they have had several of the Homeland Security people and those people busted for stealing from people's luggage and stuff like that.
but look at the hard. They were used as a weapon against Gabbard.
Yeah,
From Tulsi Gabbard.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she just came out recently and said like 8 times.
Her and her husband.
and her husband
Yeah.
have been searched, and their bags have been searched. They've been, and I'm just
She
saying.
leaves the Democratic Party, and all of a sudden she becomes on the TSA watch list.
Maybe some people in the know, not just the party.
You think?
That she pissed off the wrong people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Let's face it, it's like what it is. It's the law enforcement's immediately weaponizable against us.
But
Do you
I
think
just think
what?
you're giving Joe Biden and Kamala Harris
Too much credit.
too much credit. I don't
No.
think it's them.
I think it's the handlers.
Yeah.
What's that deep state? Anyway, everybody rolls their eyes when they say it, but let's face it, we got the administration, they come and they go, the players, the people, on the stage. But when you go to DC, you go to even a local governing body, you got all these people who work in the offices.
Yeah,
Those are the ones who actually hold the power.
Remember when Chuck Schumer warned President Trump about messing with the CIA? Was it CIA or
Yeah.
FBI about 10 ways to Sunday?
Yeah.
Yep. We'll find 10 ways to destroy you. And here's the thing. Chuck Schumer used to take a lot of money from Donald Trump. Why don't you give him
They
money
all
back?
did.
Why don't you give him money back?
Because prostitutes don't do that.
I know. Well, that's the whole thing. Wait
Yeah.
a second. That's the whole thing is like when you want to talk about prostitution, there's a few things last night when they were talking about abortion. Abortion came up last night, right?
That's so stupid.
Okay, here's the deal. Trump makes a really, really good point when he was talking about it. He's like, okay, you know what? He actually answered it really well. I think he answered it very well.
It was given to the states.
But what he could have done is said, okay, now while you're talking about women's rights, while you're sitting here giving me this whole sermon about this, can you please tell me what a woman really is? Because your party doesn't know what a woman is. And that would have floored the stupid moderators, because what they wanted him to do their job. If I was Trump last night, what I would have done last night, I would have said, excuse me, hold up, time out. You two, move your desk right here. So at least when I'm actually going against the three of you, I can actually address all three of you at one time and see you. Instead of having to look different ways.
Another thing they did, I don't know how tall she is. She's only like 5'6" or maybe 5'7".
They put a thing on
her podium was like a little kid's podium. His podium is way up here, and her podium is way down here.
And they turned his mic up.
Yeah.
Because one of the guys that actually runs Dr. Phil, he had guys on there that were doing different body languages and stuff like that. One guy was also he was an audio producer and everything, and he said, I can tell you, they had his mic up. They also were talking about the body languages, and they were saying he was stoic all the way through. You know what I'm saying? He was just very much stoic, and then everybody else was like, they were trying to figure out what Kamala Harris's, all of her expressions was. It was that smug look like she was doing it. But when she first came out, the first 15, 20 minutes, she was nervous. But they were also saying, now, this is just a stupid, what is it? When you think that there's something going, conspiracy theory. Someone's saying that she was actually, and I'd highly believe it, but they were saying that one of the things in her back of her earring.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Somebody had a clip, and they had the actual an earring that looked similar to it that was used for a listening device that she could hear.
So she could hear the answers. So people in the back could be giving her answers.
Still, have you ever tried to repeat somebody saying it?
Oh, she's good at it. She's a good Muppet. She's a good puppet.
Maybe she could hear what they're, he's talking about this, remember that.
Yeah.
But, the debate is what it is.
Keep smiling. Don't fall into the thing. Act about we're going to go toward the future. You want to go. I'll be honest with you. I started thinking about this last night. And I thought about this. I was laying beside Julie and we were talking. I'm like, you know what? There is one reason why she said we need to look to the future, because if I created this mess, I'd say let's look to the future.
Yeah.
Let's not look right now.
Looking at the burning building.
Let's look at that future over there.
Yeah.
Let's see that.
It's like, did you see that?
Look that way, please. Look that way. Look at me.
We're tossing the gas can behind you. But we got it started, but we don't want you to know that. I mean, here, look there, look here.
I just couldn't, I don't think it moved a lot of people's, I heard one guy say, Trump shit the floor.
Yeah, okay.
And I heard one guy say Trump was tired and belligerent old man.
Me and John were talking on the phone. How can you be an undecided? How can a person be undecided?
Right now, nobody
How
could
can
be.
you be? How can you be a person who says, I don't know who I'm going to vote for until I enter that booth?
Someone's lying.
No, that's the type of people they're trying to tell you that they've got for their little control group afterwards. We got a bunch of undecided voters.
Well, they actually had one. It's funny because they had one. The voters. They had one where it was 7 Democrats, 4 Republicans, and 3 undecided people. But that is representative of our country.
So then there's debate, or real debate, not like what was happening on the stage.
Oh God,
People
yeah.
are trying to get their point across.
Another thing is too, it's like I think that anybody who says they're undecided basically just want to conceal, because in 2016 they're asking people when they leave the poll, the exit polls,
right.
And they got this good feeling that Hillary is going to win, and then when they were surprised at the fact that the polls didn't say that, like they're not, people who are going to vote for Trump didn't want a camera in their face or some idiot taking down, because retaliation.
Well, it's just like you say that when you get a poller calling. What is the first thing that you say?
I said, I'm not giving my opinion, and I said, they said, well, why your opinion matters? Just they're the one the other day,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, your opinion matters. I said, no, it doesn't. I said, I'm going to vote for who I'm going to vote for. I don't know nobody else who need to know about it. And besides, why would I said, she goes, your opinion matters. I said, no, it doesn't. Because if it does matter, I do express it. I got people who want to put me on a list for having an opinion.
Right.
So no, I'm not giving you my. And so right now, if you're listening, this is my opinion on stuff. But other than that, I'm going to capitalize on it instead of you writing it down.
Plus that they're getting paid
Right.
for anyone that they do a completion. They probably get partial.
But the questions are leading, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'll say, well, between the two people, which are and then they'll say the second question is like they'll go on like some issues, and they're always saying that basically this is the most obvious one you should choose, and this one is absurd if you choose. And if that's the way they word it, it comes across in their voice. They're the way they
word it like they can word it to get the answer that they want.
Yeah. We were talking about being Kelly the other day. You remember? You were talking about
you would have thought that she was a Democrat.
No, she's kind of more towards the Republican.
I think she's what she's always been.
Right. She actually she was pissed.
Oh, yeah, she went off on her show.
And she actually said something that made sense. She said, and it kind of made sense. I was listening to her. I'm like, yeah, it kind of makes sense for what I was watching. She's like, it was like this. They were asking Mr. Trump, President Trump, we know you're a piece of shit. So tell us, what this, but we know you're a piece of shit. So whatever you're going to say, we're just going to call you a piece of shit. And then they're going to turn around like a Kamala like this. Okay, this is here, Vice President Harris. Tell us how much of a piece of shit Trump is. That's kind of how it was.
It's like, Jane, you ignorant slut. Trump, you ignorant slut. Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, it's like there's no attempt to even be unbiased.
Maybe a lot of people don't know where that came from.
It's like it was a sitcom, a constantly occurring thing, and Saturday Night Live. It was a skit from Jane Curtin and Dan Aykroyd. Mm-hmm. They were like supposed to be newscasters. You might be too young to remember that.
And anything that it was like an editorial
point
counterpoint. And Jane Curtin would go first, and the first thing Dan Aykroyd would say, "Jane, you ignorant slut." And then he would go,
and he thought I was
going to say.
And so I mean, and the thing is, ironically, he in personal life is basically just like the person Trump, like that, Trump hater,
Trump, you ignorant slut.
But it's like no, I mean, there's no attempt to conceal contempt. I mean, I was always taught in journalism when I was in junior high school, and college. You're supposed to at least have a modicum of like trying to be to ask questions that are not pointed, not like sneeringly done at this one individual. You're supposed to just open-end questions to some degree, and then also close-ended questions. You're supposed to have a mix. No, there's none of that. None of that.
Right. It's not debate. It wasn't. They don't debate like a real debate.
No.
I mean, they would be laughed.
Do you think that
would have been laughed at for their answers by their answers, and they would have been torn apart by the audience.
Right.
One op-ed said today, "Dear President Trump, we're not laughing with you; we're laughing at you." And you can tell when people write the headline of every one of them where they're coming from, right? Well, Trump did this, but at least some people said, "Hey, you know what? Kamala Harris did win. She had a good night." They didn't say she won; she just said she had a good night. When Twitter. When Twitter had their poll, when X did their poll, 78% of the people voted for Trump.
Yeah,
but who are the 70 people? That's
78%.
78%
of 5,000 some people that did this poll. I don't know.
Well, just like people that it goes back to. You probably remember this, like with the Kennedy debate with Nixon. We were too young to remember this, but. Those people who watched it on the debate on television said because Kennedy was so handsome and Nixon was sweating above his lip. They said that Nixon lost the debate if they watched it on TV
because of the TV.
Yeah, and then if you listen on the radio, a lot of people who listen to the radio said Nixon had won the debate.
Right.
So it's all a matter of perspective.
But there was one person who spoke out that I've been waiting to hear from.
Who's that?
Melania Trump, and she finally came up and said enough, and she's finally coming out and talking, and I'm so glad because she finally said, please tell me to make this make sense, that my husband got shot at, yet nobody knows anything about this. The guy 20 minutes before was caught, everything, but nobody stopped him, nobody put him in cuffs, nobody did anything. She finally came out, and when she came out, her voice is more powerful than anyone else, no matter if it's on the Republican, and they tried as hard as they could today to shut her voice down. But when she talked, it was very straight toward the camera. Nobody knew she was going to do it. She went in front of a camera, got there, and did exactly what she wanted to do. And when she did it, she's flat out took out everything from ABC, CBS, CNN, everything. She leveled everybody.
Yeah.
I think that was what everybody was waiting for. I don't know if you saw that or not.
No, I didn't.
But she gave one of the best. Watch it. If you guys can pull it up on YouTube one day, I swear to God, you'll find that she's just one of the best things I've ever seen Melania do.
Well, see, a lot of people were mocking her on the left, was mocking her because she was a foreigner with an accent. When a woman can speak like 5 different languages and she's very well educated.
They put allegedly.
Yeah.
That she can.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's how they.
Yeah, they allegedly. Yeah, it's like Chester. They could throw in another language. Get somebody who's a translator from another language. Talk to her. See how many languages she can go into. I mean, it's absurd. I mean, and the thing is, they beat up on him for having a foreign wife, and yet we're supposed to be embracing it of all people. If you're left, right? You're all people.
And the other thing that got me was Springfield, Ohio. It was all over the internet all day. And people, all the memes about people eating cats.
Yeah. Dogs, cats, ducks.
It was common knowledge, and for them to say that they talked to the city manager of Springfield, Springfield, Ohio, and he said that there's no credible evidence that this is happening. And then there's police tapes. The guy's saying, what did you kill the cat for? I mean, the police officer is asking a guy.
But it's got blood on his hands for killing him.
He just killed the cat. Well, and it's on his body cam. And so if it's on body cam and they have it, how old? It's got to be old. At least a week or two old.
Well, the other thing is too, it's like,
and they're all Haitian. These are the Haitian ones.
Well, see, if somebody says something that the left's trying to support, they always say you can't paint with a broad brush. But as soon as something like a shooting happens, all gun owners should have their guns. There's something weird about all gun owners, but they can make wide spectrum, broad brush comments all the time. You're to do that on the right wing. You're just overly emotional about this. They're just as emotional, if not more emotional.
It's one right that they haven't been able to get. They've been
trying for years.
Because the reason,
remember Archie Bunker. So how it's 1970 something.
Well, look how they treat us when we are armed. I mean, serious. Just think of how badly they treat us when we're not armed. They don't like us. The government people. I hate people saying, "Oh, the cops are here for your." No, they're not. Nobody's here to help you. If you are on your own, you're forced to pay for these people. None of these people are going to help you, and they're not under obligation for the Supreme Court to help you.
Police officers coming to talk to you.
They're not here to buy.
They're there for a reason,
and they're not being friendly. They're not there to be concerned. They're not.
It's not their job.
That's their job. I mean, look at their job.
I mean, it's not. They're doing their job.
Well, they're doing their job, which means they're going after you. Okay, be aware of that.
They're going, but we're not against police officers.
No, they're doing their job.
Want to come across like that.
But just be aware of the fact when they're coming up to you, it's not going to be usually to your benefit.
No, it's because you're a suspect in something,
right?
Or a witness,
or a witness of something.
They're not coming to talk.
They're not coming to talk to you about the Pistons game or the Lions game from the weekend before.
Unless you know the person on a personal level, doubtful. Okay, I mean that's the thing is, I mean, always be aware of your rights, and they're very fragile. And if you take this assumption that they're there to help you, they've already won quite a bit of it. Sorry.
Here's the best part: politicians hate your guts.
Yeah,
they do. Have you
You're
read
a nuisance. You're a byproduct of them. You served your purpose when you voted for them.
Right.
You voted for me. I'm good to go for the next. If I 4 years,
yeah.
I don't have to start bugging you again for 3 years.
Yeah.
Well, the election's early, so 3 years and a couple months, I'll be back.
Yeah.
Well, another thing is too, look at
give me your money.
Yeah, give me your money now.
We live in the center, like the unions had a real stronghold because there was, it was an industrial town, and GM and UAW were, married together, even though it was a bad marriage, tumultuous marriage. But anyway, you had all these people who would constantly vote for the Democratic Party, even though their policies, like they liked hunting, they liked fishing.
But at that time, I would take a Democrat from back then.
Or the stuff now?
Over
a Republican today.
Right.
No, because they had values.
Yeah.
The values was actually allowing the people to be people rather than trying to force everybody into their mold.
I mean, they wanted money, and they probably were dirty, some of them, but it was a different way. It wasn't, they weren't hurting their constituents to do it.
Right now they're hurting.
Now they don't care.
They don't care. They're just,
care.
we don't care what we do. Well, how many times you hear them that basically, John Conyers, when he was talking about the healthcare bill back in the 90s, he mocked it because there's over 2,000 pages. Did you read it? He goes, who reads that? Well, you're the one that's supposed to have wrote it.
Yeah, they made a big deal of that.
Yeah. It's like, and that's arrogance, and they keep putting it in office.
No, they don't. We do. And that's the stupidest thing because we got people who are going around going, guess, oh, they love us, they care about us, and all this other stuff. It's bull crap.
No, because politicians are not rock stars, and they're sure not brain trusts.
No, they're not brain trusts. They do act like rock stars.
Here's the thing. Charmaine the guy that the radio host. Okay, he had Joe Biden on his show in 2020, right? Running for president. Now, Charmaine the guy has been talking about how he wants to do all this stuff for his people. Now, I didn't think we're supposed to have segregation.
But you can do that.
But you can. You better not do that. But here's the thing. And I'm not saying anything bad about him. I mean, really, I know he's going to go for it. It's his show. He does it. And let him have what he does. But here's the thing where I have a problem with him. When Joe Biden sat there and said, he asked him a certain question, and I liked how he asked the questions. He was not pulling punches, except for one time. He looked at Joe Biden through the camera and goes, what are you going to do with people who are voting for Trump? And Joe Biden goes, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. In 2008, when they were running as a vice president, he said, if you don't vote for us in 2012, what he said was, if you don't vote for us, they're going to put you all back in chains. Okay, let me ask you a question. At what point did Charmaine the guy, Al Sharpton, all these, I'm just going to start naming some of these guys out. James Clyburn, the guy that died a few years ago, that he was a really good guy. He marched with Martin Luther King. Richard, I can't remember. He was a great congressman out of, I want to say Georgia or something, but out of Alabama or something. But anyways, these guys all marched, right? Jesse Jackson, all these different black pastors, even some black pastors who I'm friends with have even asked them this. Why did you not one black pastor or black representative stand up and why did Charmaine the guy right there say, that's it. That's racist. We are not voting for it. Why did in 2020 all the stuff that come in about other things that Joe Biden did against the black people, why was that not brought up?
Because it's a very selective. They've selected memories and selected.
And because of money.
Yeah, it's because of what you said earlier. Is the way. Guess what? He was following the line, and the big guys didn't want that out there. They pushed it to the side because
Well, I'm sure. I mean,
his redemption was these rocks.
Who owns the radio studio that he's in? You know what I mean? Because they don't care. He could be off if he's not serving their purpose. He could be off the radio tomorrow.
Right.
But then he might be stronger, like what Tucker Carlson did, and go to the internet and take all those people with them.
What Fox did was stupid when they went after Tucker. But here's the thing. Charmaine the guy, I think, did great. I really do respect the guy. I listen to him. I listen to the Breakfast Club and different things. But one of the things I'm trying to explain is this, is that when Biden had all these things going against how he was racist, all the way from when he said, I don't want the black people in our schools because all this other stuff. And the smartest thing that Barack Obama ever did was put Joe Biden as his vice president. Smartest thing. Because
Obama look smart.
All Obama had to do is get him there because he knew nobody's going to shoot him because they don't want Biden.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing.
And I think that was the same thing.
That was a good one.
Harris.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
he's not going to kick me out for being a bumbling dum-dum.
We're
going to have her.
And I'm thinking, you ever see those movies Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah.
That's what we've been watching for 3.5 years, running our country. And we had people now in
Dumb and Dumber and a mixture of Weekend at Bernie's, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Well, and the other side that comes into this is there's a Hurricane Francine coming in up into Missouri. I think it was
you know what? All presidents pretend like they can do something.
You can't do anything about it.
That stuff's going to kick in whether the president does anything or not.
Here's the deal. I don't think it will kick in because I think the thing is he won't know what countries he's in.
Everything is in place to automatically happen. And they say, they might say they're ceremoniously, hey, you gotta make the call when we're all ready to go.
So do you think the gas prices are going to go up?
They always do.
when a hurricane
Yeah,
comes
which
in.
is stupid in the state of Michigan. See how many refineries do we have here? We get our own. We do our own.
Yeah, we go up.
And
because
we're about ready to do that, where everybody goes, man, gas prices are really cheap. Yeah, dumb. It's because we're going to winter blend, and they want to get rid of as much summer blend as they can.
and they also want to, yeah,
That's
and
why the prices always go down near, and plus it also helps
the election.
the elections.
Yep.
It's a coincidence, yeah. And people go, man, why? They always fall for it. Every year, in the
Those three
state of
little
Michigan, and the
flies.
same thing happens again in April.
Yep.
April, May, gas prices come down again so they can get rid of the winter blend.
The thing is, most people don't know that, though. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
saying most people
the
don't.
politicians use it. Oh, yeah, I did a good job.
Look what I did for
Winter
you.
blend going down again. Yeah, next week gas is going to go down.
Yeah.
I'll go see my constituents next week when the gas prices
So I
are
just
down.
wait to fill up my car in April and September.
That's all you
That's
got.
it.
We pushed the car the rest of the year. So, but anyways, so last night was a train wreck. I just hate to tell you, but I think there's gonna be a second one.
The true
No, I won't watch it.
I
Oh,
don't
don't
know.
wanna see it.
What for? I mean, what are you going to get out of it? I'm not going to get anything out of it.
it's not humorous either, so it's not even fun to watch.
No, it's not.
Most of the people that they had in their little control groups, like that woman, I don't know, you must see the same woman that I seen that said that she was undecided before she went in, but then she's had the time to think about it. And her first question to herself, was I better off 4 years ago or today? And she said, I was definitely better off under President Trump. Gas price. And the first thing she said, gas prices. I mean, abortion is probably for the most people, if a top 10 things, it'd probably be
10 or 12.
Yeah.
10 or 12 are not even on their list. The number one is anything comfort for their selves and their family, which includes gas, food, transportation. I mean, all those things. Trump, like I said on other shows, I don't care how Trump speaks or how he comes off to people. It doesn't matter to me. It's what he does. And it's not only him, it's the people under him act a certain way. You know what I mean? He gets people in line.
Right. And what I did like when he said last night on the thing, because they were talking about how all these people don't want to work for you and all this other stuff. And he said, well, yeah, the reason why they don't like me is because I fired them. You didn't fire anybody. Even after what happened in August, nobody was held accountable for that.
Right.
And you haven't met with any other people for the families.
I mean, he seems
Oh,
like a
those
good
stars.
leader, and you in the military, you had good and bad leaders, right?
Right.
And you didn't want to disappoint the good leaders,
No.
and you didn't give a crap about the bad leaders. You hated them, especially in the Army. You would have like a commander for X amount of years. It was just a rung in the.
Right.
So you could outlive that commander and just hold your breath, he'd be gone soon.
Right.
But your really good commanders, you were sad that they would leave. And you wanted to make sure that you did a good job for them. And I think that's the same way with Trump. The people around him don't want to disappoint him.
Yeah, that's a good mark of a good leadership, I think, is you basically have that's a sense of loyalty. And somebody doesn't want to disappoint you. It's not a fear. It's basically, I don't want to let this person down because this person means something to me. And that's a good mark of a good
Plus, they
leader.
can get their vision across.
Right.
I mean, people, they drink the
Kool-Aid.
the Kool-Aid right along with it, because in a good way, not in a bad way.
I think the thing is that we just need you got to get people understanding that you got the power. People have got the power. If you come together, you've got the power to do it.
It's also like we talked about before. When Trump was in office, I didn't think about President Trump being in office. I just thought, I didn't think about anything. I didn't worry about anything.
Yeah.
No.
And these people that are in there now, you don't know what's going to happen from day to day.
No, you don't.
No, the silliness. Would you believe? Okay, if somebody told you 10 years ago, you're going to have a president in 10 years that is going to be incapacitated most of the time. And then when he is out, he's going to be so hopped up on drugs that he's not even going to know what he's saying. He's going to slur speeches. He won't be able to get through a regular conversation with anybody without making mistakes.
And he's shitting his pants when he's walking around places.
Yeah,
And he's got a dog that's
yeah.
biting everybody.
But
Yeah.
would you believe that?
No. I look at
We're going to scanners so much.
lowered the standards. They lowered. We don't have any control over the standards.
No, because
Wait, one of the policies that Kamala did come out with yesterday, I didn't tell you.
What?
Guess what?
What?
She wants it to go pay for tax dollars to pay for illegal immigrant criminals to get sex changes
Oh,
if they want them for free.
I thought they were already doing that. I think
No, that's for criminals. But if you're illegal aliens, if you want to have it, she wants that done because she doesn't think that it's right that.
And how long have you been waiting?
I was like,
Okay.
yeah, thanks, man. But no, it's like,
We called it
no,
off.
but no, I think it's just ridiculous, man. Just all these perceived needs we never had.
Yeah.
But if you told me 10 years ago, I mean, honestly, what you were saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. But I mean, if you just think about all the crap of what we were going through in the last 4 years, come on, would you ever think it ever happened?
No.
No, it's just, yeah, I mean, I never was on anybody's radar for this crap. Food, clothing, shelter, yeah, medical care, yeah, but getting into, basically doing this is not even a good thing for a person because, let's face it, the body, it's a mutilation of the body to do these sex changes.
The government's going to shut down, and when you do get the chance to go to a grocery store, you're going to have to stand 6 feet apart from people, wear a mask, and follow little arrows through the store.
Yeah.
And don't, even if there's nobody in that aisle, you still have to go all the way around.
Come down that aisle.
Come back up that aisle.
And then you're going to have people standing in every aisle telling you to pull up your mask.
I don't know, with the tick-tock clock on the wall.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're at about 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 21 seconds at this point. So.
I think it's good.
Yeah, so anyway, thanks for joining us, those who did, and those who didn't. Yeah,
wow.
you suck. But anyway, but no, we can't say that. But anyway, thanks again.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can say it. But no, I just think that I'll get back to the shop. I'll be waiting, by the way. But anyway, no, I just think we're in insanity. We're in the middle of insane. We're being run by people.
For what somebody said, we're not only unsupervised, we're off our meds.
Yeah. And I don't really want to go back on them. No. I'm having much better of a time now.
Well, but we don't have a choice when we get back to the ward.
The word. Have a good one, people.
All right,
And
I'll talk
wrap
to
it
you
up
later.
here.
Bye.